Have you ever heard of a president who gave away most of his salary, lived in a modest farmhouse, and drove an old Volkswagen Beetle? This is the story of José Pepe Mujica, the former president of Uruguay, a man whose life journey from guerrilla fighter to head of state made him a global symbol of humility and integrity. José Mujica was born on May 20th, 1935, in Montevideo, Uruguay. His father was a small farmer, but after he died when José was young, the family fell into hardship. Mujica was raised by his mother, a woman of Basque descent, and from a young age he worked selling flowers to help support the household. These early experiences grounded him in the reality of poverty and taught him to value simplicity, hard work, and resilience. In the 1960s, amid growing social inequality, Mujica joined the Tupamaros, a left-wing guerrilla movement inspired by the Cuban Revolution. They carried out political actions, expropriations, and sought to challenge the elite, but their actions drew fierce repression from the state. Mujica was shot 6 times, captured, and imprisoned. From 1972 to 1985, during Uruguay's military dictatorship, Mujica spent 13 years in prison, including over 2 years in solitary confinement. He was kept in harsh, inhumane conditions, sometimes in underground cells, sometimes without light or contact. That experience changed him. It stripped away everything except the core of who he was. He later said, "I spent many years in a hole, and I learned to speak to ants." When democracy was restored in the mid-1980s, Mujica left behind armed struggle and turned to politics. He helped found the Broad Front, a progressive coalition, and began working within the system he once fought against. He became a member of parliament, then Minister of Agriculture, where he advocated for rural farmers and sustainable development. In 2010, at the age of 75, José Mujica was elected president of Uruguay, and with that, he became perhaps the world's most unusual head of state. During his presidency, Mujica legalized same-sex marriage, abortion, and even marijuana, making Uruguay one of the most socially progressive countries in Latin America. But what truly caught the world's attention was how he lived. Mujica refused to live in the presidential palace. He stayed in his small rundown farmhouse on the outskirts of Montevideo with his wife, Lucia Topolansky, and their 3-legged dog. He donated nearly 90% of his salary to charities and lived on about $1,000 a month. He drove a 1987 Volkswagen Beetle, dressed in simple clothes, and worked in the garden during his free time. He believed real wealth was freedom, not the freedom to consume endlessly, but the freedom to live simply and consciously.